It has been 15 days since the beginning of October. We have not taken any trades, and we took 2, and we are taking 2 losses today. We're going to get into both of these. Losing $391 trading GIL and SE. Okay, I'm gonna get into these. I haven't first off, I should explain the thought process here. So that's it. Like, this is literally the only thing that I have. Let me just set the date range this month. The only thing that I have right now, it's still like TradeZilla is kind of bugging out right now for whatever reason. But the only trade that I have is these. Taking on, really, there are 2 trades. They're taking on just 2 accounts with the trade copier. So I want to get into like why I took them, and I'll kind of cover all that stuff so you can kind of see it. But yeah, there it is, 391. Really just taking, there's not a lot of trades. I've taken 4 technically, but really 2. I have a position that's open that is up that I have yet to do a recap on Roku. So I guess I should talk about that one too. So we have a Roku trade that's open that we are still not out of yet, but it looks really good. Like, it's just doing its thing. It has earnings in 2 weeks, so I'll be out before then. Either target hits, stop hits, or earnings is coming up, and so we get out. That's kind of the 3 situations. But I just honestly, I have not felt the need to do anything. And these are actually small losses because if I go into the trades, if you can see, they are taken on the smaller trades inside of here. The $50 loss and the $61 loss are taken on a $10,000 account. So on those accounts, like, I max risk $100. So they're about half roughly of my max risk on trades. So that's not bad. Like, in my view, like, I took those off prior to stops being hit. So I end up losing less than I originally planned to lose because I did not like how they closed on the days that I entered the trades, or the day after I entered one of the trades. So that's really it. So I entered SE. They're both intended to be swing trades. They're both on the daily time frame, which is where I've had the most success this year. So I've been kind of like waiting for that. And then if I bring it back to kind of the overall market conditions, I just honestly haven't seen anything that I've liked until lately. Things started to look decent. Like, the S&P kind of broke out over here and had a nice pop. I just decided, or I just chose not to trade that period of time because we were finishing up a week. There was a CPI, there was a PPI, there was a weekend, there was a bank holiday. I just figured, like, let's just wait till after the bank holiday and we'll see what happens, and we'll see what sets up. And so that was kind of the approach. And then prior to that, we were in here. So prior to this, we were just we were not in a high momentum environment. So I was like, oh, there's nothing to do. There's like legitimately nothing for me to do. So I'm just going to not, sit here and force dumb trades, So then I'm looking around. I have a list of a couple stocks that are, looking pretty good and stuff. And I see GIL, which I talked about in the live streams, and it still looks pretty good. It just, on the day that it breaks out, I want to see it close above the breakout point, and it just didn't do it. Like, it got up to about nearly 48, it hit 48 pretty much, and then it kind of fell off, which I don't like that. That's not a high momentum situation. It could break out further tomorrow, and I'll get back in. That's kind of how I'm going to go about it. If it gets to 48, I'll be back in, and we'll play the same exact trade idea, But not going to hold that one overnight just for an overnight gap down risk. That's not worth it. Who knows what could happen. Maybe something happens. Maybe nothing happens. But I just don't like how it's closing. So that's it. Simple as that. And then SE, I could have got in on Friday. I waited till Monday. So I saw how we held on Monday. Felt pretty good about that trade. And then just want to see this thing closing strong. And it just could not close back above 98. So closing below that technically didn't hit my stop. But not liking that. I think, again, same thing. Overnight gap down risk, not worth it. Just going to leave it alone. But this kind of goes to show, we were talking about in the live stream today, Apple, which had better volume, but same thing. Like, we were looking at Apple, and I was saying, oh, Apple, here we go. Could be a good setup. Could, on the weekly time frame breaking out over here, could be good. But what does Apple do? And this is the kind of the nature of the market and why I just... we've been seeing a lot of this type of stuff, and also it fits into like why I haven't been seeing a lot of opportunities, and then why I've been, I won't say hesitant, because there just hasn't been stuff that I liked that just met the criteria. But then also, like, when I get something that looks okay, maybe on a large cap like Apple, I know Apple and me don't really mix very, very well for whatever reason, just haven't really worked out right. It hasn't traded very nicely the past, year or so, year or two. But Apple has this massive push. It makes a new all-time high, okay? Apple legitimately goes to all-time highs. We were on the stream when it happened. goes to all-time highs, and then proceeds to sell off the entire afternoon. Go to the 5-minute. Like that is like, oh God, like that's gross to me. From a momentum strategy, Apple's been much better of a dip buyer, stock the past 2 years for sure, but for a momentum strategy, no, it hasn't been good. So it's not surprising. That those trades lose. So that's the deal. So we kind of end up coming in, we lose 391, which is totally okay. It's not the end of the world. Peep the trade Zella, by the way. Peep this out. Little upgrade here, by the way. Look, they got some new stuff. 2 traded days total. We got the week-by-week P&Ls over here. They're making some small little upgrades and some stuff. I like it. I can't complain. It looks pretty good. Looks pretty good to me. But yeah, so that's the deal. Other than that, we got Roku sitting on it. And, if that one happens to pan out, well, I haven't done anything on that. So we have profits from the month of September that I locked in September on Roku that I have not accounted for in a trade recap video because I am still in the trade. So once we account for all of that, I will pull up the entirety of the Roku trade and all that stuff. I don't know for sure, but it's about $1 away from my original take profit. I have a plan going forward though here. My gut tells me that if this goes 80 plus, I believe it should by itself make back more than what we are down on the month. I don't know. Don't quote me on that. And of course, some of it will be accounted for last month, some this month. But I believe total on the. So like the reason I mentioned that is just because of, again, risk management. You can take 2 L's, totally fine, and then have one winner that makes it all back or makes a good chunk of it back. On one shot. It's kind of how you want to play. Like, because then what your game becomes, or what my game becomes, is, kind of pushing for a win rate around the 50% range. And if you can rip a win rate around 50%, I mean, you're freaking gold. And based on how I look at things and how I trade. So that's kind of my approach. So that's the trade recap. I'll leave TradeZella linked up below, 10% coupon if you're interested. And that's the deal. See you in the next one. Maybe we'll have a Roku recap next. I don't know. But waiting on that. I haven't been day trading. I'm not very interested in day trading right now. Maybe that kind of changes. Maybe Bitcoin kind of pops into the equation here soon. So I think we're getting closer. But as some of you will be like, well, nothing's going to happen till the election. Maybe. That's possible too. So all possibilities on the table, I think, at this point. We don't have a lot of news market-wise going out the next week or two, like big news. So I think we could, that's expected at least. So I think we have opportunity. But it's been a quiet trickle higher in the overall markets. But not everything is going up. But the markets overall are generally going up. So make that what you will of it. See. Peace. See ya. Peace. See ya. I don't know why I'm still recording.